And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we are doing a recipe that uses the bechamel sauce we made last week. These are Monte Cristo sandwiches. So we're going to lean a little bit on the croque madame, croque monsieur sort of style of sandwich as well with this, but the difference of course being the egg wash or the egg soak that we're putting on the bread. And let's start off with our ingredients. We've got this beautiful white sourdough bread, some amazingly rich ham, some really lovely ham, two different kinds of cheeses. We've got an Oka and a Gruyere, a little tiny bit of nutmeg, some grainy mustard. You can use whatever kind of mustard you prefer. Our bechamel sauce from last week, some eggs, and some milk, and that's for the batter or the soak that we're going to be putting on the bread. First things first, we're going to get our cheese grated. So always a good idea to start with the rind part first because that's the hard part. It just makes it a little bit easier to get everything done. And we've got both of our cheeses grated together here. We're just going to mix them together for a lovely aroma and a mix of flavors in there. And then we're going to start getting our sandwiches prepared. Now, this bread, as you can see, and as you know, a lot of really nice artisanal breads, has some pretty big holes in it and gaps. So we're going to plug that up by making sure we've got ham on both sides to keep all the insides of our sandwich on the inside. And we've got this really lovely local produced grainy mustard. It's not a super intense flavor, so we're going to use a fair amount of it. Now you want to try and keep the ham as even as you can. We're trying to cover up some holes in the bread, but you also want to make sure you're not stuffing it on one side too much. So you want to be a little bit aware of which side of your sandwich has the most ham on it and keep everything a little bit balanced. But don't be afraid to be generous with your ham. This is supposed to be a little bit of a decadent sandwich, as you can tell by adding a large portion of that bechamel, that incredibly rich and flavorful herbal bechamel in the middle here. And then on top of that, we're going to add some of that cheese. Now you do want to reserve a little bit of that cheese because we're going to be putting some on top at the end and putting it under the broiler very briefly. A little bit of fresh cracked black pepper as well. And once you've got your sandwiches ready, you're going to put those together and get the egg mixture together that you're going to soak your sandwiches in. So once that's ready, we are going to put together our egg mixture. We're just going to have a tiny bit of nutmeg, basically just a little whisper of nutmeg in there. It shouldn't taste like nutmeg in the end result, but you will notice it if it's not there. It's just that slightly bit of warm spice in there. We're going to add our eggs, a little bit of salt, and again, a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper. I also want to mention we are starting a Patreon. I will have a link to that in the description below. We'd love to meet you out there, so come join us and let us know what you'd like to see. So we're going to mix our eggs together and then add in our milk and just whisk that together or stir it together with a fork until it's well combined and nice and smooth. Once that's done, we're ready to get our sandwiches in there. So we're going to soak that bread in there just until it is well soaked, but not like sodden. We don't want to really drench the sandwich in the egg mixture. Just let it soak in until it's basically French toast. Some of our recipes where we've done like the pain perdu and that sort of thing, you're really soaking that into the bread. We don't want to make it too floppy or too wet in this one. And then we're just going to cook that in a pan with some butter until we get that nice golden brown on there. You want to flip it gently because things are going to move around. You want to do this on a medium-low heat because you want to make sure that the middle gets nice and hot and all the bechamel melts and the cheese melts before you burn the outside, basically. So we're going to add a little bit more of that bechamel on top. And then we're going to use the little bit of cheese that we held back, and we're going to cover the top with that. And again, you can use, your favorite kind of cheese. We used some very aromatic cheeses for this. They had a lot of flavor, a lot of aroma. And that's just going to go under the broiler for a little while. Now, you want to keep an eye on this. You don't want to burn the egg in your bread. So once you see it getting really dark and brown around the outside, it's time to come out. And if you want your cheese to be super toasty and a little bit brown, you can always hit it with a blowtorch for a little while, a little culinary torch for that. Now, it's a bit of a delicate sandwich, as you can see here. It's going to take a little bit to cut, but that's because it's everything inside, the cheese and the bechamel has all melted. It's all become liquid and really, really beautiful. You can see everything's just running in the middle there. Just delicious. And that's it. Really, really simple. It's a very rich sandwich. We do recommend serving this with a salad with a little bit of a sour vinaigrette on there, just to sort of tone down the incredibly creamy and unctuous sandwich that you're serving. Absolutely delicious, though. We hope you'll give this one a try. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. Please do check out our Patreon. I will put a link in the description below for that as well. And remember to love your food.